All right, so we're getting started here right now. All right, so our runners will take control of X, who's our protagonist here, as we hunt for the Rogue Mavericks with a sprint through everyone's favorite stage, Central Highway. And it really is a sprint, since ideally you're going to want to get to the end of the stage without stopping. Central Highway, casually, like many intro stages, it's intended to introduce the player to the game's controls through a sort of trial by fire. So they don't actually tell you how to shoot, how to run, how to jump. So they do that by giving scenarios like this bee here. Casually, you would defeat it and crash down to the ground with it, and that would sort of force you to learn how to wall jump. So ideally, in order to get through here without stopping, you're going to bonk these bees, even though it does freeze the frame there. Just get it down as quickly as possible through mashing, and then you can continue on. Ideally, you're going to want to have a time on this stage below 2 minutes. That's pretty solid. But what they tell new runners of this is, don't really worry too much about your time, just don't die, because dying is going to add a lot of time to your run. But these guys are both pretty solid runners. We're probably going to see a time below 2 minutes. And throughout the stage, you're also going to have been seeing these runners doing their best to take strategic hits and avoiding health pickups, as they're going to need to have 3 pips or less of health at the end of the stage, because that's what's going to trigger Vile's little immobilizing shot that will finish the round. If you come in here with full health or more than that, you're just going to have to fight him until you're down to that amount of health. And that's a huge time waste. Alright. Yeah. Poison at just under 2 minutes on that split. Drifter just over, so it's still very close even at the start. And we see a Zero comes in and saves the day, forcing Vile to the retreat. And then our runners can head out and start hunting down the Mavericks after he gets a lecture from Zero here. You'll notice in these text boxes that they are using the Japanese version. If the game is played optimally, I believe that the Japanese version saves about 12 seconds overall with the text boxes. But that's really the only difference. There's no gameplay difference, there's no mechanic difference, it's just the text boxes. And these guys are going to go, like every other run in every other category, to Penguin first. And the reason for that is because you get the dash boots here, which is your first armor upgrade. It makes X move a heck of a lot faster. And this is actually one of my least favorite stages, because I always tend to hit one of the bunnies. It just wouldn't be one of my runs if I didn't hit a bunny. But these guys have no problems with bunnies. They come right through, and they're also going to be exploiting something in the game here. It's called lost my place. Just a little ledge jump, or a slope jump. Whenever X is going down a slope, he moves a little bit faster than normal. And if you jump at the end of that slope, you gain a little bit extra height and a little bit extra distance going at a slower speed. So they use that just to get up a little bit faster to this capsule. And this capsule is where they're going to be getting the dash boots. Yeah. And we're going to be seeing a lot of dashes for the next 30 to 40 minutes. Poison taking a bit of a bonk there, same with Drifter. That little area that they just went through is colloquially referred to as no-stop hallway. Because ideally you can get through there without stopping at all or taking any damage.
Hey Baron, you there?
Hey, what's going on, Fly? Oh, okay. In that area with the snowballs, you might see different runners take different strategies. Some people prefer to just hit something and then use their iframes to get through the next section. Some like to jump kind of almost frame perfect just to avoid any damage and just jump over snowballs, jump over the throwers. And here we have Chill Penguin, who is a very large troll when it comes to RNG. He can do basically 3 different things. We're seeing on both screens right now, he can jump up and pull that hook and start a little blizzard that would blow X on one side or the other. He can slide, which you don't want to see, because while he's sliding, he's actually immune for the duration of that slide. And he can also blow his Frost Breath, which creates two horrible sculptures of ice that will freeze you if you contact them, and it will also freeze you if you contact the breath. So these guys are on very, very similar paces here, both completing Chill Penguin quite quickly. And they're both going to Boomer Quanger. Most stages are very horizontal in nature, very linear, but Boomer's stage is the one difference, where it's a very vertical platforming level. Optimizing movement on vertical levels is quite difficult. You'll see a lot more of that in the later generation games like X2 and X3. But X1, this is really a large test of changing up your mechanics a little bit. All right. And they're basically at the top of that ladder at almost identical points. We're going to see both of them here pull into the right side of this elevator. These spikes do damage, but if you're within 7 pixels of a wall, X can actually do a wall kick off of them, so they kind of exploit that a little bit to get some iframes to avoid the swooping enemies there. And these guys are pretty synced up. But they're both about to be attempting what I assume to be a iceless heart. There's a heart at the very top of this tower that normally the way you're supposed to do it is to come back to this stage after you beat Boomer and use the weapon that you obtained from him. Oh, and a first try on that from Poison. That's going to be very good for him. And pick it up with the boomerang. Another route is the way that we just saw with the iceless route. You get a very, very precise jump off of the wall. And like I mentioned earlier, with that 7 pixels that you can jump off of a wall, you're going to want to get about that distance away from that ledge and kick up. Poison made it look very easy, but it is a very, very precise trick that even some of the best runners will miss it a couple times in competition. And they're also exploiting a little battle mechanic here with Boomer. If you get close enough to him, he'll likely attempt to grab you with his little grabber at the top of his head, in lack of a better word. Optimally, you can do that loop for the entirety of the fight, but that's pretty RNG dependent. But you are guaranteed, if you continue that loop, to get him down to at least half health. So Poison getting a slight lead over Drifter here with that first try iceless jump there. And heading to Storm Eagle next. See where Drifter's going, likely the same spot. Yep, Storm Eagle. Hopefully we're going to see the carpet here. I know a couple people have tried during this run, even today. It's also quite a precise trick. I'm not entirely sure the mechanics of it. I know it has to do with spawn times of sprites and things like that. But what they're going to do is exactly what Poison just did. Hard to describe, but it does save a bunch of time. Because you don't have to worry about getting up on the elevators and running across and all that. You can just jump right to where this sub-tank is and pick that up. And you can even follow this platform along some more as it glitches out. And drop right down into the next capsule area, where we're going to pick up the arguably most useless item in the game, which is your helmet upgrade. All it really does is, you see those little blocks to the left of the capsule, it helps you to break those with your head. So that will help us get to some items later in the run. If you casually play the game and you come and get this upgrade first, and then you go down to Sting Chameleon stage, there's an area where rocks will fall from the ceiling. It does prevent a little bit of damage there, but other than that, that's really the only utility for this upgrade. Not much else technically in this stage until we get to Storm Eagle. You may recognize this ship from the intro. It is the same ship. I believe it's called the Death Rogummer, something like that. Yep. And ideally, you don't want to see, that's a pretty good pattern here for Poison so far, you don't want to see Storm Eagle jumping up and then diving through the air. That's going to waste a little bit of time. Ideally, you want him to stay on the ground as long as possible. Poison got a fantastic RNG there. Drifter, unfortunately, nothing he could have done about that. It's just the game deciding that he wants Storm Eagle to dive. So that's going to cost him a little bit of time. But again, nothing Drifter could have done about that. Still manages to get through relatively unscathed, though. As Poison heads to Flame Mammoth. You're going to want to go to whatever route you decide to do, or however you want to try and do this run. It's always best to go to Mammoth after you've gone to both Penguin and Storm Eagle, regardless of whether or not you're attempting to do the Iceless jump on Boomer or not. Reason for that is because those two upgrades that you get from those stages, the dash boots and the helmet, are required to get this next capsule here in Flame Mammoth stage. See Poison getting up that wall using his helmet to bust the blocks above him, and the dash boots, first of all, to even get to that location, and to break the blocks on either side of them. And here you pick up Zero's Buster, or the upgraded Buster. And like every other thing you get, it demonstrates what it does. It helps you to get that third charge, and it also gives you the secondary fire of each of the upgraded Buster abilities. And since we went to Boomer early, we can actually use these boomerangs to get the upgrades without having to go underneath of that platform. You may also notice that this stage is frozen over. That's a really interesting mechanic that they incorporated into the X games. That was the first of its kind as far as Mega Man games, of beating one boss affecting the stage of another. If you beat Chill Penguin, it freezes over the stage, and casually playing this stage without beating Chill Penguin is quite a task. There are flame pillars that come up from various locations that split the platforms that you jump on. It's a very, very difficult stage casually, but it's made a lot easier by freezing over all that. It also makes getting the heart tank nearly impossible without Boomer's Cutter, since it's in the bottom right in a lava-filled area. But this fight, not much to talk about. Mammoth is weak to Tornado. He only has one attack that actually damages you, and that's him shooting fire out of his trunk like he's doing to Drifter right now. Everything else that he does, he can change the direction of the little platform underneath of you. He can shoot out a little oil slick that, if caught with fire, will create a little plume of fire. Nothing too threatening. Even casually, Mammoth is pretty much a pushover. Poison now heading to Spark Mandrill. Likely Drifter will do the same. And here's another example of beating previous stages affecting another stage. Having defeated Storm Eagle, Spark Mandrill's stage has had the Death Rogumer crash into it seems. That affects the electricity here, as you see the lights flickering on and off. Normally these platforms that Drifter is on right now would have electricity coursing through them, which would damage you if you hit them. Also, the lights would not be flickering on and off, and this boss that Poison is coming up to would be much more formidable. But with the power off, as long as you don't run into him, you're pretty fine. And Poison making quick work of him as Drifter goes through the lights out hallway here. Well, that was a good grab there by Poison using the boomerang. Apologize for that noise there. Alright, as Poison goes ahead and enters into the boss area here, or Maverick area. They don't like you calling them bosses, they're Mavericks. But the weakness here for Spark Mandrill is going to be that Shotgun Ice. It's going to stop him in his tracks. Both of these runners are likely going to be abusing an exploit here where you can actually get a second shot in at full damage on Spark Mandrill by shooting him right as his iframes finish up. So you can get two shots. When I used to casually do this, I noticed that he would freeze. I would just sit and wait and just shoot a shot. You can almost one-hand this if you figure that out. The only thing that's dangerous is that little charged punch that he'll do. So that will close the distance very quickly, but neither of them having any trouble with Spark Mandrill here. Poison goes into Armored Armadillo, the tunnel rat of the game. All right. Yep, and Drifter doing the same, exactly. Right. There's really not too much to this level other than kind of precise platforming here and there. There are a couple of tricks that you can do. One's called the booty grab, where you can actually grab the sub-tank that is behind the driller there, that is charging after Drifter right now. I'm not too sure about the precise way to do that. I know it has something to do with grabbing a item off of that bat drop from the top of the platform and dropping down the wall. And what the game does is it decides, hey, we need a sprite to be filled in this boomerang here. And so rather than using the one that you picked up, it replaces it with the next sprite, which the next one to load happens to be the sub-tank. So that would actually save a lot of time if you're able to pick that up. Otherwise, you have to come back later, which we will be coming back later, using Chameleon Sting to kind of phase through that driller and go back and grab it manually. It's not too much of a time loss, but it is if you're looking to optimally get a personal best at these people's level, you're definitely going to want to at least try and pull that off. All right, Poison making quick work of him. The weakness for Armadillo, as you can see, is that electric spark. Casually, this also is a very difficult fight as well if you don't have the electric spark, as his armor is almost impervious. If you charge up a charged shot and hit him with it, he'll actually absorb it with his armor and fire it right back at you. Armadillo is a huge troll. So now Poison is heading towards everyone's second favorite underwater level, Launch Octopus, and Drifter right behind him. Poison's got a couple second lead here. They are. As Poison starts heading towards the first of two submarines, known as the Anglerges. Just going to be spamming a couple rolling shields at it to make quick work of it. We'll likely be switching to Spark. The reason he's not maintaining the same weapon for both of these Anglerges is because the rolling shield is also the weakness of Launch Octopus. So you don't want to waste all your resources on mini-bosses here. And the reason that they kick up off this wall here when those little snakes go down is because the death animation of those snakes causes a lot of lag on the screen. So if you can just get that off the screen, it speeds up a lot faster. And dropping the tornado there on Poison's screen, you can actually hit the second little snake guy before it actually comes onto the screen, because it starts its spawn underneath that platform there. You can actually, and Drifter doing the same thing. Alright, there's a slight bit of RNG with the octopus fight. Not too much to worry about, other than you just hope that he doesn't go into his little whirlpool animation. Just like that. You can mash out of it to keep it from going on for too long, but every little suck that he does, he will regain a little bit of health, so that can actually cause the fight to go a little bit longer. And you see over here with Drifter, he actually opted to use the cutter to cut off Launch Octopus's tentacles. And what that does is prevents him from firing those homing missiles. He'll just fire those straight rocket shots at you. So it makes it a little bit more comfortable. You do take a little bit of time in throwing the cutters to get that to work, but it makes the rest of the fight much more comfortable and much more manageable. As Poison goes into Sting Chameleon. This is another occurrence of defeating a previous Maverick, affecting the stage of another Maverick. Having defeated Launch Octopus, we now flood Sting Chameleon stage, which makes getting one of the power-ups a little bit easier. And Poison starting battle with the green biker dude, as he's colloquially referred to as. You're going to want to throw about 18 or less of these boomerang cutters, because it is his weakness. But you also want to save enough to be able to take out Sting Chameleon, who is also weak to the cutter. And Poison doing the infamous toe, putting a toe on the capsule, making it just a little bit faster to get the power up. And this is the last power up that we're going to pick up, which is the chest armor. It actually reduces damage taken by about 50%. So that's going to be quite helpful, particularly in the final stages against Sigma. Poison having just a little bit of trouble picking up that heart capsule, but it shouldn't waste too much time. Let's see if Drifter is able to do it maybe a little bit faster and close some of this time. Yeah, has trouble as well. That's unfortunate. Alright, the rest of the stage is pretty much self-explanatory. You're just going to want to try and dash and jump through it as quickly as possible, having some well-timed shots to take out the enemies in front of you. Ideally, you're not going to want to get into the ride armor, as it's called, because it just takes a couple seconds of animation before it powers up and you're able to move with it. It also can create a little bit of lag on the screen as well. So optimally, you're going to want to do what both Poison and Drifter are doing, which is just dash and jump all the way through, taking out as many enemies in your way as possible without getting bumped. And Poison going ahead and going against Sting Chameleon here. You can actually troll him just a little bit, because every time that he gets hit when he's hanging off the ceiling, he will jump down and try and do it again. And a little dash lemon right there to take him out. Poison, that's a pretty good fight. Drifter doing the same, it looks like. Drifter may have a little bit extra to work with, so he doesn't have to worry about getting that dash lemon off. And for those unaware, a dash lemon is the X's regular buster shot. They're just referred to as lemons. One shot will do 1 damage, but if you dash prior to inputting the shot, it'll actually do 2 damage. So that's something that you can do to kind of get the final hit on the boss if you run out of those cutters for Sting Chameleon. And Poison's already gone through the cutscene now that Drifter's on now, which is just 0 telling us that we've discovered Sigma's hideout. But before we do that, we're going to go back to Chill Penguin stage and pick up the last of our heart containers, which is required for the 100% run. We're not able to get this on the first run through, since you need the power-up that you get from Flame Mammoth to break one of these little igloos, if you will, which contains the last heart. As a kid, I was not aware of this heart's location, because it requires you actually trying to break that. And Poison just got that, so he's good to go for the last little trick, the actual last power-up that you get, which is the Hadouken. There's going to be a lot of revisits here on Armadillo's stage as Drifter picks up that last heart container. Execution here really is key, at least in the first half of it. So it looks like Poison's going to have to do that little backup strat of using this thing, C-Sting, to just phase himself through, get away from that borer as quickly as possible, because that does add a lot of lag to the screen. As he just continues on to do one of the most tedious Easter eggs in Capcom history. And Drifter is actually not too far behind him. Now, the way that this Easter egg works, for anybody who hasn't been watching any of the previous tournament runs or hasn't watched a Mega Man X 100% run at all, there is a location at the end of this stage that is just above the door to get into Armored Armadillo's room. And on top of that ledge is a little health pickup. That's actually a big health pickup. what you need to do is you need to visit that a handful of times, and just people used to think that you'd have to collect that health for it to work. You just need to see it. It just needs to appear on your screen as a sprite, and then you can just go back and do another visit. And then on the last visit, you're actually going to see a capsule up there, much like you did with the dash boots and the chest and helmet upgrades. It's going to be the Hadouken, and the way that you pull that off is much like you do in the other Capcom game, Street Fighter. It's just a quarter circle forward or back, and punch, or in this case, Buster Shot. And for the most part, it is a one-hit kill on any enemy. It takes down boss or Mavericks in one hit, which we're going to see a lot of during the Sigma stages, where we fight the Mavericks one final time. The only ones that it doesn't take out in one shot are the Anglerges, which are the submarines in Launch Octopus's stage. It actually takes 2 shots for some reason, despite the damage from the Hadouken being the exact number of hit points that they have. And Wolf Sigma. You can actually pull off a Hado on Wolf Sigma, but it'll just ping off as if you're using a regular Buster Shot. And that is about it. Everything else will get taken out in one hit. And Poison is now finished getting all of his upgrades and is ready to go through the Sigma stages. And this is where Drifter will probably have a good opportunity to make up some time, because there's a lot of kind of nimble footwork to be done here in these stages. And anything can happen still. They're still quite close to each other. And what you're seeing Poison do is, you might think that he's messing up, but he's actually doing that intentionally, taking damage. Because very similar to the first stage, we're going to see Vile again. And we're going to have a very similar mechanic of needing to have low health before we see him again. Oh, and Drifter making up a little bit of time as Poison was having some trouble with those platforms. And you're going to see them take off some of those enemies on the screen. That's going to reduce a little bit of lag so that he can take damage slightly faster. And here is what's known as the Vile Skip. Casually, if you just climb up that last ladder and you touch the ground, that will trigger a cutscene, which is actually playing right now on Poison's screen. This saves a couple of seconds. It's very useful if you're trying to get a personal best. And again, we see Vile shoot that immobilizing shot. And again, we see Zero saving the day. But we're not done with Vile yet. He's not running away. He's got nowhere to run. He's ready to fight us. Alright, Poison making quick work of him. Drifter likely will as well. Strategy for that is just move forward a little bit, turn around, shoot the Hadouken at him. It'll hit him right off screen. So ideally he'll explode off screen and not create a bunch of lag. As Poison goes and sees that our friend and hero, Zero, has died. Oh no. What will happen now that we don't have our savior with us? But I'm sure we'll figure out in the next game if he's okay. Alright. Poison now coming to the Boomer revisit, but with the Hado, this is actually a lot easier. There you go. Taken down. I can see that sigh of relief from Poison, because there's an opportunity for Boomer to do a short stutter step forward and do exactly what he just did to Drifter. Teleport away. Oh, that's going to hurt Drifter, unfortunately. It's going to add a little bit of time. He still managed to get off the backup Hado on him. But Boomer is a troll. Boomer is one of the most hated Mavericks in the game. Just because he's very difficult casually. He's even very difficult people that know what they're doing. Very good on Poison. He did that so quickly I didn't even catch that he was there. But Bow Spider, or Boss Spider, depending on how you want to pronounce it, will drop down these little web patterns. and it has to take the first available route. So if you see there on Drifter, it came down from the right, had to go all the way to the left, so he just moved a little to the right and threw that Hotto. Casually, this is a very long fight. It is weak to ice, but every time you hit it, you only get one opportunity to hit it each time it comes down to the ground. So if you missed or you time it just a little bit late, you gotta wait for the next path. You gotta wait for it to come all the way back down again. So we're now on to Sigma 2, with Poison already at Ice Chill Penguin. Something to note if you're interested in running this game, especially in here, it's almost a guarantee that every single time that Chill Penguin comes back, he will shoot a shotgun ice at you. You just jump over it, put your input in, and throw a Hotto at him. Simple fight. It's our little revenge for all the RNG that he does at the start of the run that causes resets. Alright, Poison now climbing these ladders, getting towards the revisit for Storm Eagle. As this one's just a little bit trickier, because he will start to push you away, and you need to get that Hotto off while he's still on screen. You see Poison had a little bit of trouble getting that, but he got the backup. Yes, it takes about a second and a half or so to get that Hotto off. So if he pushes you off screen in that time, it won't actually impact him. So Drifter still had a couple pixels left of Storm Eagle on there, so he actually got the more optimal method than Poison. And Poison's now going into the next battle, the actual final boss here of Sigma Stage 2, Rangda Bangda. Got a good pattern on the eye there, so he's actually able to take out the eye with a Hadouken. See if Drifter gets just as lucky. Green is the worst RNG you could ask for, because the blue one will come down and give you an opportunity to shoot that Hadouken off on it. Red has the potential of doing that, although not all the time will it do that. But green will just stay fixed in the socket. Very quick fight for Poison there, and for Drifter. Drifter actually caught up a lot of time. It's all really gonna come down to Sigma 3 and the final boss little battle as well. So maybe about a 2-second difference there. These guys are pretty close. Poison is likely going to be attempting what's called the Dillo skip. And he gets it off. The way this operates is that if you pan the camera up at any point, that's what triggers the armadillo to actually spawn in. So pushing yourself through the door with that ice sled actually prevents the armadillo from spawning. If you do happen to get too excited and jump, that will spawn armadillo. He'll be all glitched out and you can still go through, but that's going to say cut a couple seconds off of your run. Poison with the air Hotto. Drifter trying to pull that off as well. The way that one works is you slam that ice sled into the wall, you buffer your quarter circle, and then you pause. Because when you switch off of the ice, it will actually despawn that ice sled. So you want to be on the buster, and for 1 frame after you unpause, you can put an input in, which will be the Hotto. It's a very tight window for it, but for some of these runners, it's almost automatic. A little bit of RNG can actually screw you up on that, because as Sting Chameleon is hanging from the ceiling, he drops those little barbs that come from the ceiling. If you're very unlucky, one can basically spawn right above you and hit you on the first frame that you come out of your buffer. That can be quite annoying. Not much to say about the Spark Mandrill fight. You just freeze them and Hotto them. Same thing here with Launch Octopus. He's going to fire rockets at you every time. So just shoot one little lemon out to intercept that rocket and shoot that Hotto at him when he lands. And you're good to go. Right. And we're here now at the Flame Mammoth Revisit. Another pretty simple one. He will jump every single time. You can either hang back or you can move forward and then just turn around and throw that Hotto. Drifter opting for almost the exact same strategy. Okay. Now we're moving on to the final boss of Sigma 3, D-Rex. There's a quick strategy referred to as the Dom Dukin, where you just jump right up here and throw that Hadouken just as Poison did. If you miss that, there are backups, but we're not going to have to worry about those right now, as both Drifter and Poison pulled it off. Expertly, if I may add. Alright. So we're going to be going into the final boss run here, where we're going to be taking down Sigma's dog, Velgarder, Sigma himself, and a little combination of the two in Wolf Sigma. Use this opportunity here to let you guys know that if you have any interest in Mega Man X speedrunning, this community is probably one of the greatest ones that you will encounter. Everybody is super helpful. Everyone is very willing to welcome in a new runner, myself included. And Poison and Drifter are some of the better runners that we have in the community, and they're very humble as well. Like, if you ask them a question, they're happy to answer. But as we start these fights here, Velgarder down pretty quickly. He will jump at the start of every round, but if you actually charge up that shot and get it off beforehand, you will knock him back, and you'll be able to input a Hado. Sigma, similarly, will always charge at you. Just throw that Hado at him. And we're on to the final here. The combination of Sigma and Velgarder, also known as Wolf Sigma. The only thing that you can do to damage him is throw these rolling shields at him, or a fully charged Buster Shot. That's the purple beam. The purple beam will only do 1 damage to him, so it'll be a very tedious fight. So you want to make sure that you're not missing too many of these rolling shields, as Poison is narrowing the gap here. It's going to be very, very close. And that is time on Poison. And maybe 3 seconds behind him is Drifter. That was a very, very close run. That was very close, but looks like Poison came out on top there. Oof. Difference of 2 seconds. Poison Curl, official time of 36:34. Drifter 2 seconds behind him with 36:36. That was an incredible run. And those are both very respectable times. So that was a very good run. Now, you may think that Sigma's done, but as we will find out in the credits, Sigma will return. It's almost as if they predicted an X2 or an X3 or an X4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. Yeah, quite a good run. That may have actually been the closest finish during this tournament of a 2-second differential. I know it's showing right now the Drifter is at 39 and Poison's run is just restarted as timer for some reason. But that was a 2-second difference on the official race time. 36:34 from Poison, 36:36 from Drifter. Incredible. I thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something from this run. And if you, as I said, if you are interested in speedrunning this, you will not find a better community. It's also a fantastic game. And everyone that's been in this tournament thus far is a fantastic resource to reach out to if you have any questions or if you want to get your toes wet into these runs. Not sure if we're going to be having any interviews after this. But we will stand by and see if there's any information to parlay to you. Hey,
Hello?
we got you in here.
Hey, what's up?
Hi, what's up, man? How was that run? That was a 2-second difference, right?
Yeah,
That was
I
incredible.
that was a really good run. It was almost a PB. Not sure if it was. It could have been. I light split it pretty hard.
Well, just to let you know, your official race time for that was 36:36.
Yeah, my PB's a 36:35.
Wow, so you almost PB'd in that run. If you could have changed anything about it, what would you have changed?
I would have liked to have had some better RNG on Eagle. Would have been nice.
That would have been nice. Yeah, Poison actually got a fantastic pattern on Eagle.
Yeah, Eagle gave me a lot of dives. Other than that, the run went really well up until about Octo went really bad because I missed like a bunch of shots on him in the beginning.
I noticed that you elected to go with the boomerang cutter to take off the tentacles. Is that something that you normally do on your runs?
No, just in the tournament because I was just sick of having to deal with his
Just playing it more safe.
swirls. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Oh.
yeah, I mean, the only other thing that I noticed in your run that you may have wanted to take back a little bit was the attempt of the heart grab underneath Chameleon stage. You got it on your second try, but that
Poison actually got a fantastic pattern on Eagle.
I don't know
Yeah,
why
Eagle
I'm getting
gave me a lot of dives.
audio back here. There we go.
Other than that, the run went really
But,
well.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, it was a pretty clean run for both of you guys. Like that 2-second difference. Oof, anything could have happened to send it one way or the other.
Yeah, I was happy I got the booty grab on my revisit to Hadoken. I was really surprised I got.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it. Saved like a few seconds.
Poison missed that one as well.
Oh, nice.
You guys were on each other's heels like the entire race. I think that's probably the closest race that we've had this tournament. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was crazy. I'd be curious to see if we like retimed it, because I might have late split a little bit on that.
Oh, on the race time?
Yeah, on the dot done or whatever. I might have been a second late on that.
Yeah, I mean, either way, you guys were a second or two, maybe even shorter.
Yeah, it was crazy close.
Would you ever do a rematch with them, just casually?
Yeah, I'm always down to play some Mega Man.
Absolutely.
And I've been getting on some good time saves lately, so I'm sure I can get another PB.
Oh, I'm sure you can. Well, Monday's coming up, and it's PB Monday.
Great. Well, I'll be sure to run then.
All right. Well, appreciate you taking the time. Is there anything else that you want to add for anybody there?
Good luck to Poison and Fly on the finals.
Yeah, that's going to be a good run as well. I don't know if it'll be as close as this one, though.
You can always hope, I guess.
All right, then. Well, great run. It was amazing to watch. It was also a lot of fun to provide commentary for. And you have a great rest of your night. Get some PBs if you can.
Yeah, it was great playing, and good luck to the rest of the runners, and see you guys next time, I guess.
All right. All right, Gold Snake, we do see your question. Is the MMX final now? Yes, we are going to be getting started with the final as quickly as we can. So what we're going to do right now is just take a quick little break here so we can get set up for the finals. And we're going to see Poison taking on Fly. So that's going to be a fantastic race as well. Alrighty. So it's going to be on the main SpeedGaming channel. So get yourselves ready for that, for the finals of the Mega Man X 100% tournament run. Absolutely hype.